Joining me right now on the phone is former FBI Assistant Director James Kallstrom. Also with me is Chief Political Correspondent for the Washington Examiner and Fox News contributor Byron York here joining us as well. Good to see you both. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Maria.
So, Jim Kallstrom,
good morning, Maria.
let me kick it off with you, Jim Kallstrom, because you and I have had this discussion before about the independence of the FBI, the fact that so many agencies, the FBI included, have become politicized, and you've been really critical of Jim Comey in the past.
Yeah, Maria, I have, and I'm glad that this actually happened. I think it's a good thing for the country and a good thing for certainly the morale of the FBI and their efficiency. The agents do a great job no matter what, but I mean, Jim Comey just turns out was not cut to be the FBI director. I mean, he made his fatal mistake way back when the criminal referral was sent over to the FBI, and the FBI was not able to get the Attorney General to approve a grand jury investigation, you know, which anybody that's in this business knows you cannot really conduct a serious investigation without the ability to compel evidence and compel things to happen, to look at computers, and you don't go around, FBI doesn't go around begging people to cooperate with them. So that whole thing from the very beginning was set to be a hollow farce investigation. And at that point, what he should have done, in my view, was to stand up or call the Attorney General and say, look, we're going to have a serious investigation here, or we're not. And if we're not, you know, I'm going to have a press conference and I'm going to consider resigning from the Bureau. And that's what he should have done. He danced with the devil, and the dance went on, and when the music stopped, you know, he had this press conference, you know, which was something very, very, you know, crazy from the standpoint of how things normally work. Here you have the FBI director, even with this shallow investigation, laying out predicates of about 9 to 10 major felonies, including violations of the Espionage Act.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and says, you know, we've concluded that Hillary Clinton really didn't know what she was doing. Her mind was clouded. You know, she didn't realize that this stuff had to be protected. Come on, give me a break. This woman, the First Lady of the United States for 8 years, and traveling around and seeing that people carry the football and all the NSA encryption available throughout all the communications is nonsense.
Right.
And then to take Loretta Lynch's decision away from her was not Comey's decision to make. That was another fatal mistake. Yeah. And of course, if you're not going to indict somebody, you never ever lay out the criminal predicate that you're thinking about. You don't publicly do that. So Jim Comey just, you know, he's basically a good person. He didn't have the tools to really be the FBI director. He might have been a good assistant attorney general, but it was illogical, the things he did, and yeah, he put the Bureau's credibility, you know, basically under the bus and kept driving over it many times.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, you know, these are all the issues that were brought up to me when Byron York, when I posed the question to the president. I spoke with President Trump last month and asked him specifically. A lot of people are questioning Comey still in the job. I think he foreshadowed what was to come in my interview last month. Listen to this, Byron. People are still wondering, though, they're scratching their heads why so many Obama-era staffers are still here. For example, was it a mistake not to ask Jim Comey to step down from the FBI at the outset of your presidency? Is it too late now to ask him to step down?
No, it's not too late, but, you know, I have confidence in him. We'll see what happens. You know, it's going to be interesting. Don't forget, when Jim Comey came out, he saved Hillary Clinton. People don't realize that. He saved her life because I call it Comey 1. And I joke about it a little bit. When he was reading those charges, she was guilty on every charge. And then he said she was essentially okay.
But of course now, Byron, everyone's saying, why now? I mean, why not at the beginning of the, you know, does this have to do with the probe that's going on at the FBI into Trump's potential collusion with Russia, which of course we know has yielded nothing?
Well, this is one of these weird things where there's actually a lot of bipartisan opinion that Jim Comey kind of deserved to be fired. And certainly, as far as Democrats are concerned, if a lame duck, President Obama, had fired Jim Comey, I think they would have all cheered. Now, when Trump does it, it's the Saturday night massacre. So timing and context are everything in this. And I think what your interview with President Trump suggested was that there was a process of firing Comey that was going on that had its roots in the Trump transition, where there were people who wanted to fire Comey once the president took office, but they also wanted to have kind of a full staffing of this, and they wanted to have a deputy attorney general in place to do this. And indeed, Rod Rosenstein, the deputy attorney general, has been in office, I think, for less than a couple of weeks, and now this happens. So I think you could say that the Trump people were waiting until they had the full team in place to actually do this, but by waiting, they have made this look as if this is a reaction to the whole Russia investigation.
Right. So now are they on defense, or are they on offense rather, in terms of having to explain themselves as far as?
I think they're clearly on defense. You know, you did another interview that's interesting in this. You talked to Michael Mukasey in March on your Sunday show. Mukasey, former George W. Bush Attorney General, he was in favor of getting rid of Comey during the transition, and then you said, well, why not do it now? And this was in March. He said, well, that didn't happen. They didn't get rid of Comey, and it can't really happen now because Comey has gotten himself embroiled in a dispute, and it would look like he's being fired for political reasons.
Exactly.
Well, I think what Mukasey said turned out to be the case.
Exactly. Michael Mukasey was right on that, and I think actually, Jim Kallstrom, you also discussed the issue around this.